It's second intermission time here between the Battle of the Hill between St. Thomas Tommies and UNBV Reds, and having a chance to talk with somebody who's had a chance to see the Tommies a little bit this season, and that's this past two games on the weekend, the 7-6 loss to St. FX and the loss to Dalhousie. And I have on the line with me Bill Hunt from the Fredericton Daily Gleaner. And Bill, first and foremost, thanks for doing this. I'll jump right into it by asking you, but first, the game versus X last week, and your take on a game that a lot of people thought the Tommies could have came away with a victory in.
Absolutely, they could have come away with a win. Up 6-2 at one point, and they just I don't know whether they got greedy or things changed or whatever. I know that Coach Mike Eagles wasn't very happy with them in the aftermath. They played a good, solid first period against X and went up 3-0. And as I say, got it to 6-2, but started to get outnumbered in the zone and were beaten to pucks. And Charles Levine, to be frank, did not make any game-saving stops for them. I mean, he was left to his own devices quite a bit, but and he'll tell you himself, he didn't come through for them with the big stop when they needed it to stop the bleeding.
Now, when you take a look at a game like that, one thing that Mike talked to me, and I know he talked to you about, was you have to stop those odd man rushes in your own zone.
Well, absolutely. That's the thing. They were outnumbered in their own zone. They were getting beaten to pucks, and it didn't look like it would be a big thing at the time. But Matt Eagles was tossed on I would call a questionable check from behind. He could have gotten away with with a boarding penalty or a minor penalty, but he wound up with a check from behind and a game misconduct out of that, and they missed him. They had to move Wes Welcher into the center and sort of reconfigured their lines a bit. And Matt's a good defensive center, and probably would have been able to help remind them what got them up to a 6-2 lead in the first place. But they lost him 8 minutes in, and that didn't help matters at all.
Now, of course, the team was able to rebound a scary moment in Saturday night's game with Brian Main, but the team was able to rebound a 9-3 victory. So while it wasn't the best outcome from Friday night, Saturday night had a plus side on the victory, but losing Brian wasn't certainly something that the team was looking for.
Absolutely. Very scary situation there. And the thing is, earlier they had lost Keith Wynn in a similar type play, raced to the end boards, and Keith fell in heavily and jammed his knee. Tried it early second period and was hit again and didn't come back. So they played the last half of the game with four defensemen. Brian, thankfully, after being attended to on the ice and taken to hospital, had a CAT scan and was fine. Left the hospital under his own power. Probably won't play for a while. Certainly not in the lineup tonight. But so they were reduced to four defensemen against Dal, and managed to play pretty well through that. They're at 5 tonight with Keith giving it a try. So we'll see how that goes.
When I talked to Doc Feeney in the first intermission, we talked about, from a coach's perspective, what it's like. Now, from a reporter's perspective, when you were there at the game, your thoughts when that situation happened?
Well, you know what? It was scary, and we spoke to Charles Levine after, and Charles's first inclination was his first thought was to Sebastian Savage, the player who played for Moncton a few years ago, and is in a wheelchair as a result of an accident like that. So it was a scary scene. Dr. Graham Young was right on the scene, and so Brian was well looked after. And there was no rush to get him off the ice. They took every precaution possible, and thankfully, as I say, he will make a full recovery on it.
You got the game tonight versus UNB, which is underway. Then St. Thomas is traveling down to St. FX for a rematch on Friday. Dalhousie for Saturday afternoon. I know Mike is probably looking forward to telling the guys, look, we had a 6-2 lead against X. I know we're going down to a tough barn, but at the same time, X is probably going to go, guys, we were down 6-2, so this should be a good game Friday night in the rematch.
Absolutely. But having said that, I think the Tommies can go in there and win that one. It's a matter of playing within yourselves and reminding themselves what got them up 6-2 in the first place. As I said, they played a solid first period against X and were up 3-0. But even in the second period of that game, and I recall talking to Mike about it, and he said he wasn't very happy with the second period because he could see the trend where they were leaving the zone early and getting a little points hungry and stuff like that. But they did have the meeting on Saturday. He reiterated the way they have to play. It seemed that they got the message and played well against Dal, so they're certainly capable of, if they play 60 minutes the way they played the first 20 against X, they're certainly capable of going in there and winning that game.
All right, and I'm going to get you off on this one because when you take a look at the AUS from top to bottom, of course, we do have the UNB squad, which is considered the front runner in St. Mary's, but the rest of the teams will have to battle each and every night for points in this first half because you don't want to wait till the second half.
No, absolutely not. And you know what? My inclination is that UNB is probably they might be the top team in the country. They're certainly the top team in the AUS. Haven't seen St. Mary's, but can't see them falling too far off the pace from last year. But I think the other six, you could probably throw a blanket around them, and it's a question of who's ready to play on any given night, and the points are up for grabs.
Well, Bill, we always appreciate taking time to chat with you, and I'm sure we'll chat throughout the season as it progresses.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. Bill Hunt, Fredericton Daily Gleaner. You can read his columns each and every day, talking about, of course, different sporting events throughout our region. But, of course, he does get a chance to cover the Tommies hockey, and we appreciate Bill for giving us a few moments. You're listening to Tommies Hockey on 95.7 The Wolf. Summit Dodge Tommies Hockey with Randy Corey will be back on 95.7 The Wolf.